All right, so today we are going to play Modified Jeopardy. So as opposed to you all racing to see who can answer the question first, since we have no cool buzzers, everybody, I just saw the smiley face, is going to get their own question. I do want to state for the record, since this isn't being recorded on YouTube, I did not write the numbers on here. They teamed together, and the three of them, and you can tell there are three different handwritings and numerous different spacings present. Anyway, our contestants today, Big Mike, Short Stack, and Misdemeanor. How the game will work: you will get to pick any category for any point value. We'll probably start with Big Mike, and we'll just kind of go in this order. Now, when Big Mike gets to answer his question, if he gets it right, he gets the points. If he gets it wrong, he loses the points and goes into negative points. I don't know if that's possible in real Jeopardy, but it's possible here. All right? And if he misses the question, it goes to Short Stack. Short Stack can, if she wants to, risk-free answer his question. If she gets it right, she gets the points. If she misses it, no penalty. If she does miss it, it could go to Misdemeanor. And Misdemeanor can answer it risk-free. However, if they don't want to answer Big Mike's question, then she could defer and say, no, I want to pick my own question, in which case we could default to Misdemeanor if she would like to answer it, and so on and so forth. So if you pick the category, you risk the points. If it wasn't your call, but you want to go and answer it, you could get the points risk-free, but then we bypass your question because you've already earned your points. Does that make sense? So we're going to go around the room, and we'll start with Big Mike. By the way, I would have out an extra sheet of paper here, not with your notes on them, okay? So we're doing this closed book, closed notes, but have blank paper out, and if you don't know something, write it down, or at least write the term down. You could go back and look up later. You will want a calculator handy, as some of our categories, such as measurements, scientific notation, sig figs, and math, that is the wonkiest 300, will involve some, my OCD is triggered, yes, will involve some calculations, so have your calculators readily available. Big Mike, we go to you for our first question.
Adams 400.
Adams for 400. Your question, sir. Define the mass number of an atom.
It is the protons and no. It is the number of neutrons in an atom.
Oh, sad day. All right, Short Stack, would you like to earn his 400 points, or do you want your own question?
I can try it.
All right. What is the mass number of an atom?
It's both the protons and the neutrons in an atom together.
Good, it's the number of protons and neutrons in an atom. All right, so since Short Stack took his question, we now go to Misdemeanor. What would be your category and point value?
Measurements for 200.
Measurements for 200. All right, Misdemeanor. By the way, if you're wondering about these random names, our Spirit Door last year, the theme was something about like inmates or weapons of math instruction. They were convicted of something, so we took mug shots of everybody and came up with gangster names, and these were their gangster names. Anyway, they actually aren't actually bad kids, just for the record. All right, though the only one that sounds bad is Misdemeanor, which, you know. All right, sorry, so back to this. Measurements for 200, your question. What are the SI fundamental units of time, length, mass, and temperature? Let's take these one at a time. The SI fundamental unit for time,
Second.
length,
Meter.
mass,
Gram.
temperature.
Kelvin.
All right, Big Mike, would you like her 200 points? I'm not going to tell you which answer or answers she may have missed in that. Would you like her 200 points, or do you want your own question?
I want her 200 points.
You want her 200 points. All right, so Big Mike, SI fundamental unit for time,
Seconds.
length,
Meters.
mass,
Kilogram.
temperature.
Kelvin.
Mass is the kilogram. All right, so that takes him from negative 400 to negative 200. So now we're tied for second. All right, Short Stack, what would you like for your question?
Matter 2
Matter 2 for
for 200.
200. We'll leave the little smile there. All right, Matter 2 for 200. Short Stack, in which type of mixture are all molecules evenly distributed? In which type of mixture are all molecules evenly distributed throughout the mixture?
Homogeneous.
A homogeneous mixture is correct, so we're up to 600 points. 600 points. Trigger a little more OCD there. All right, misdemeanor, let's get you out of the negatives. Your question.
Atomic theory for 300.
Atomic theory for 300. And this is a daily double, but you're in the negative, so we can't do a daily double for you. But normally how a daily double works, for those who don't watch Jeopardy, is you can wager at up to your entire point value on a single question. So for instance, instead of it being worth 300, if she'd already earned, say, a couple thousand points, she could actually make that one question worth a couple thousand points and literally double her score or possibly go to 0. She could wager as little or as much as she'd like, but since she has negative points, we're just going to make this thing worth 300. Misdemeanor. What is the name for a positive electron?
Positron.
A positron is correct, and she is now out of the negatives. All right, Big Mike.
Can I have matter 1, 300?
Matter 1 for 300. What is the definition of matter?
Anything that has mass and takes up space.
Anything that has mass and takes up space. Excellent. He too is out of the negatives. This is a good feeling. Short stack leads the way with 600. Your question.
Atoms for 200.
Atoms for 200. What are the charges of the 3 primary subatomic particles?
Protons are positive, neutrons are neutral, and electrons are negative.
Outstanding. Got all 3 of those. We're up to 800 points, wherever the chalk ran off to. I don't know. Misdemeanor probably stole it. All right. Oh, it's in my hand. We used to pick on our science teacher in high school because she would put her glasses up on top of her head like this for, I guess she only needed them to read. So she'd have her glasses up there and she'd be talking away and she'd need to read. She'd like, now where did I put my glasses? She would look at everywhere. They were right on top of her head. Anyway, now it's my turn. Where's my chalk? If one of you took my chalk, so help me. Anyway, all right, misdemeanor, your question.
Scientific notation for 200.
Scientific notation for 200. We're playing it safe here. Going with the little points. All right. I'm going to come down here where it's easy for short stack to read. I want you to write that number in scientific notation there on your paper. All of you doing this at your seats, but the points initially will be for misdemeanor to earn. Write that number in scientific notation, and misdemeanor, call your answer when you've got it.
Uh, 5.24 e to the negative 6.
Good, or we just say e negative 6. 5.24, e negative 6 is correct. Good job, misdemeanor. Did the rest of you have that also? Excellent. All right, Big Mike, don't be left behind. No child left behind. Still a child technically, right? How long until you turn 18?
I don't know, like 2 months.
A couple more months? Okay, so soon you'll be an adult, but until then, no child left behind. Big Mike, your question.
Can I get matter 1 for 500?
Matter 1 for 500, go big or go home. I like it. All right. Big Mike, differentiate between mass and weight.
Mass is how much inertia an object has, and weight is the pull of gravity on said object.
All right, so can you give me an example of how one could be affected but perhaps the other not?
If you're on the moon and you have a brick, you can throw the brick really far, but if you kick it, it's going to hurt.
Okay, if the brick hits you, it still hurts, even though it doesn't weigh as much. Okay, good. All right, so Big Mike leapfrogs misdemeanor. Sole possession of second place. Short stack, your lead has been shrunketh. All right, your question.
Measurements for 300.
Measurements for 300 points. Oh, I have a ticker voice. All right. I may have small children. All right, measurements for 300. Short stack, what power of 10 or E value is associated with the prefix mega? What power of 10 or what E value is mega?
Millionth?
Well, what E value? Like 10 times 10 to the what or E what is mega?
E to the -6.
Alright, so short stack falling back down to 500. Misdemeanor, would you like her 300 points or would you like your own question?
My own question.
You want your own question. Do you want her 300 points or your own question?
Yes.
You want the 300 points. Alright, Big Mike. What power of 10 or E value is associated with the prefix mega?
E9.
Ooh, alright, no penalty. It's E6. You might want to jot that down. Mega is E6. It's millions. Not millionth, but millions. E6. Alright, Misdemeanor, you asked for your own question, so we come to you.
Sig figs and math for 100.
Sig figs and math for 100. Playing it conservative here. Alright. Alright, Misdemeanor. I want you to add 23.57 plus 1.6 and express your answer in proper significant figures. Write your answer in proper significant figures. Alright, do you have your answer? What do you have?
25.2.
25.2 is correct. When you add it up initially, you'll be 25.17. You either cut it at the hundredths or the tenths. Tenths is less place value. We cut it here at approximately 25.2. Great job, Misdemeanor. Now, unfortunately, you're still in third place because you didn't go big enough there, but you're closer. All right, Big Mike took her question or attempted her question, so we're back to short stack for the next question. What would you like? What?
Matter 1 for 200.
Matter 1 for 200. All right. What is the most abundant state of matter in the universe?
Plasma.
Plasma is correct. And back in first place here, Misdemeanor, your question.
Atomic theory for 400.
Atomic theory for 400. All right. What is the name for a region where it is likely one could find an electron as it travels around the nucleus of an atom?
An orbital.
An orbital is correct. And Misdemeanor goes from last to first because it's a tightly contested race here, folks. All right. Big Mike, your chance to get a question.
Can I matter 2 for 300?
Matter 2 for 300. He's going to sneak ahead of everybody if he gets this. Your question, in which type of mixture do molecules clump or layer?
Heterogeneous.
A heterogeneous mixture is correct. I should have you guys asking, answering the question form. I forgot about that. What is heterogeneous? Correct. All right. That's the weird thing about Jeopardy, since you don't watch it, is you have to answer in the form of a question. I don't know. I lose track of that with the math and stuff. It's just weird. We could do that. That'd be cool. I just wouldn't penalize you if you didn't. So if you want to be cool, answer with a question. If you're not cool, just answer normal, like a boring teenager. All right, short stack. What is your next question?
Atoms for 100.
What is atoms for 100? Good. Oh no, just kidding. That's not when you answer with a question. What are the two particles found in the nucleus of an atom?
Protons and neutrons.
What are protons and neutrons is correct. You are now in a tie for second place after being in first place for most of the way. Misdemeanor, you could jump everybody.
Scientific notation for 300.
Scientific notation for 300. All right. Need you to add 5.43 E6 plus 3.02 E6. And leave your answer in proper scientific notation. The rest of you working this as well. 5.43 E6 plus 3.02 E6. All right, what you got?
8.42 E12.
Say that again.
8.42 E12.
All right, Big Mike, do you want her 300 points or do you want your own question?
I'll take it.
You'll take it. All right, hold on now. She was, oh shoot, I just read. She was at 600, right?
800.
800, Okay, so 500. Okay, that's it. You were in the tie for a second. Okay, so Big Mike, you get the chance at the 300 points risk-free.
8.45 E6.
Good. Remember when you add the numbers, you just add them, 8.45, but then you keep the E value the same. You keep the same E6. So 8.45 E6 is correct, and that vaults Big Mike up to 1,200 points. Our first contestant to go over 1,000. Short Stack could catch him though with this next question.
Atoms for 300.
Atoms for 300. They're slowly losing atoms. Violates the law of conservation of matter and energy. All right, atoms for 300. Define the atomic number of an atom.
That's the number of protons in an atom, which it determines what the atom is.
Very good. The number of protons that determines what the atom is. So you're in a sneakily close second place here. All right, Misdemeanor. We're going to jump back in big time, or are we going to creep our way back in and hope that they fall? Which strategy is best? We'll see what she picks.
Matter 2 for 500.
Ooh, she is wanting to get back in this thing. Mostly brave. Not quite brave enough for the 600, but she's brave enough to go 500. Here we go. Misdemeanor. What is a compound?
Combination of 2 molecules, 2 or more molecules.
Okay, technically that's true. For instance, if we have a substance and we say that is a compound, if we were to dive in deeper and look at the substance closely, what would have to be true for it to be considered a compound? Let's say there's lots and lots of molecules in there. What would have to be true for it to be a compound? Big Mike, do you want her 500 points? Or do you want your own question?
I'll take it.
You'll take the 500. Okay?
Is it a combination of elements, 2 elements?
Well, yes. In order to be a compound, you would have to have a combination of 2 or more atoms, 2 or more elements. Do you want to try for the 500? Every molecule must be exactly the same. In a compound, it's a pure substance in which every molecule is exactly the same. All right, so make sure you jot that down. A compound, a pure substance in which every molecule is exactly the same. All right, Short Stack, your question. You can jump Big Mike for first place here. Picturing you jumping Big Mike is kind of funny, actually. Okay, sorry. Just some score.
1 for 100.
Matter 1 for 400? All right. Define inertia.
The object in motion can stay in motion without the help of a force, and then if it stays at rest, it stays at rest.
If it stays at rest, it stays at
Or
rest.
if it doesn't move, it stays. The object at rest stays at rest. And then if it's in motion, it stays in motion unless acted by a force.
There we go, much better. Much better the second time through. And you are in first place now. Good. An object in motion tends to remain in motion unless acted upon by an outside force, and an object at rest tends to remain at rest unless acted upon by an outside force. All right, Misdemeanor.
I'll do measurements for 400.
Measurements for 400. Hey, I like that. Nothing daunting. A lot of kids be like, okay, I tried a 500. Let me go back to the safety of the 100. She's like, no, I got this. All right, measurements for 400. What power of 10 or E value is associated with the prefix nano? What power of 10 or E value is associated with the prefix nano?
E negative.
I couldn't hear that, I'm sorry.
E9.
E9? Ah, that is not correct. All right, Big Mike, would you like her 400 points or would you like your own question?
Is it E negative 9?
It is E negative 9. That is correct. Oh, so close. All right, short stack. You have been jumped. Now, that was a huge account. All right, so your question.
Matter 2 for 400.
Matter 2 for 400 points. What is an element?
Is it like a collection of atoms or something?
Well, I mean, everything is a collection of atoms. You're a collection of atoms, but you're not an element. Why not? All right, so we'll go to Misdemeanor. Would you like her 300 points, or would you like your own question?
I'll take my own question.
Take your own question. Do you want the 300 points, or would you like your own question? You want the 300. All right, go for it.
Every atom is exactly the same.
A pure substance in which every atom is exactly the same. And he's closing in on the 2,000 mark here. All right. We go back to Misdemeanor with your question.
Sig figs and math for 300.
Sig figs math for 300. I'm surprised you didn't take that one first, just to get it off the board. Oh man. Okay. Can I go first instead of Big Mike? I want sig figs math for 300. Please give me that one right now. All right, sig figs math for 300. I'm going to use this space here since I'm lazy. I want you to add 73.5 centimeters plus 22 millimeters if it's possible to perform this calculation. All of you working, of course, but it's Misdemeanor who gets first crack at the points. Be sure to use significant figures appropriately as well in your answer. Ready?
Yeah.
All right, she has her answer. All right.
I'm thinking it's not possible, but I have a feeling that's wrong.
It is possible to perform the calculation. All right, so hold on now. Short stacks question to Big Mike. Mr. Short stack, you get next crack at it. If you'd like it risk-free, would you like to answer the question, or would you like your own question? You want your own question. Okay, Big Mike, would you like to take the 300 points here?
I would like it.
Okay.
Is it 76 centimeters?
It is not. Okay, but no risk to you, no points lost there. All right, let's take a look at this very quickly together. So first of all, it is possible, but not the way I wrote it. You have to change one of these two numbers. So either this becomes 2.2 centimeters, or this becomes 735 millimeters. One of those two. In which case you could add these, or you could add these. Now, if you add these, based on place value, the units digit is the digit to which you would round, which would give you 757 millimeters. If you add these, it's the 10th digit, the digit to which you'd round to get 75.7 centimeters. Either answer would be correct. So you kind of over-rounded, does that make sense? But you were right there on the basic idea. All right, so keeping track of this here, Short Stack asked for her own question. Short Stack, what would you like for your question?
Matter 1 for 100.
Matter 1 for 100. All right. What are the 4 states of matter?
Solid, liquid, gas, and plasma.
Solid, liquid, gas, and plasma is correct, though it's hardly worth erasing your number and rewriting it. Just kidding. All right, misdemeanor, we're back to you.
Atomic theory for 100.
Atomic theory for 100. All right. Okay. Which equation shows the relationship between mass and energy?
E equals mc squared.
E equals mc squared is correct. All right. You took the last one. We're back to short stack again. All right, so short stack.
Atomic theory for 200.
Atomic theory for 200. What are the subatomic particles that make up protons and neutrons?
Quarks.
Quarks is correct. All right, misdemeanor, we are back to you. And then finally, Big Mike gets a question. All right. He just sits there watching his lead.
I'll do measurements for 500.
Measurements for 500. Differentiate between accuracy and precision and give an example.
Accuracy is closeness values. I'll start with precision. Precision is close values to each other, and then accuracy is how many times you can hit the one spot closest to its target. So
Okay, so maybe an example of like measurements in a lab, for instance. Can you give an example of how we would have to see accuracy or versus precision in lab measurements? For instance, maybe we have a rock and we want to weigh the rock. Can you give me an example of how accuracy versus precision with weighing a rock on a scale?
You can put it on a scale one time, and then it's accurate measurements over and over and over again, but precise measurements yeah, I don't know.
You were close enough. I'm not going to dock the points, but I can't give the points either. So we'll call that a wash on you. You were going to get your own question, unless you want to steal her 500 points. Do you feel you could do a better job explaining the difference between accuracy and precision and giving an example?
Yeah, just giving an example.
Well, differentiate, by which means kind of define and then give an example of how they differ.
Yes. Accuracy is the exactness of a measurement, and precision is the closeness of a measurement. Do I have to do laboratory, or can I do something else?
You can do something else.
Okay. Accuracy is hitting the bullseye on a target, and precision is hitting the same area.
Could be something in a somewhat scientific realm.
Oh. Accuracy is getting the accurate weight of the rock, and precision is getting weights in closeness of the rock. So like 17, 16, 15, 15.6, and then accuracy is the exact weight, which would be 17.3 grams.
Okay, I'll give it to you. All right. Definitions were a little clearer. The example was adequate. Not stellar, but adequate, so I'll give it to you. All right, so we're back to short stack. Big Mike's running away from you here. It's those long legs.
Let's go for it. Matter 1 for 600.
Matter 1 for 600, and that erases the category from the big board. All right. Differentiate between density and specific gravity. Differentiate between density and specific gravity by giving definitions of each.
Density is like how much stuff is like packed inside. How much volume is in it?
Okay, she's kind of got started, but not real far into that. So, Misdemeanor, would you like her 600 points and go wash, or are you going to take your own question?
I'll try it.
You'll try. Okay. Differentiate between density and specific gravity.
Density is the mass compared to its volume, and specific gravity is the sample divided by the standard.
The sample.
The substance divided by standard measurement.
The what of the sample and the what of the standard. Like right there. Right there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you perhaps remember another name for specific gravity?
Relative density.
Okay, so then specific gravity would be the
Density of the sample and the density of the standard.
in a.
And
I'll give it to you in a ratio comparing the density of the sample to the density of the standard. There we go. All right, so we are back at wash here, and you actually get to pick a question. You haven't done this in a while. All right, Big Mike, your question.
Can I have Adams for 500?
Adams for 500, not content with his already enormous lead. He's going big here. All right, put himself out of reach or close to it, he thinks. All right, Adams for 500, define an isotope. Define an isotope.
An isotope is an atom that changes the neutron. The neutron goes up or down.
Okay, it's a simplistic definition, but it works. An atom that has gained or lost neutrons, thereby changing the mass without changing the substance. There's Lazy Man 9.
It's like a 4 wearing headphones.
It's a 4 wearing headphones. That's a 9. All right, short stack. He is 2,000 points ahead of you. How are you going to handle this? Do we go big, or do we leave the big for him, hoping he'll miss them and fall back within striking distance while we slowly creep closer? What do you do?
Run for 200. Or 100.
A matter 2 for 100, and the smiley
No.
will not
You
come off the
deserve
board
that.
yet.
only has one eye.
He's squinting with the other eye. All right, I don't even know if the camera can see that. All right, matter 2 for 100. What is the basic building block of all matter? Atom is correct. Hey, and that puts you to a nice even 1,000. So we're back to the quadruple digit status. All right, Misdemeanor, your question.
Sig figs and math for 400.
Sig figs in math for 400. She looked at that 200 and thought about it. She's like, nope, I got my pride. All right. Sig figs math for 400. And all right, here's some information for you. The density of cement is 2.85 grams per cubic centimeter. I want you to find the mass of a sample that is 400 cubic centimeters. So I have 400 cubic centimeters of cement. If we know the density of cement is 2.85 grams per cubic centimeter, find the mass of the piece of cement. You have your answer?
Mm-hmm.
All right, what do you have?
1,140 grams.
That is correct. 1,140 grams is correct. By the way, no extra points here, but anyone, what would be the specific gravity of the sample of cement? Or what is the specific gravity of cement?
1,140.
Remember when you compare its density to water? 2.85. So the density of cement is 2.85 grams per cubic centimeter. The specific gravity of cement is 2.85. No points there, just thought I'd ask. All right, again, here she used the formula rho is equal to m over v. Solving for the m equals cross multiply rho v, and when she multiplied 400 cubic centimeters by the 2.85 grams per cubic centimeter. Cancel to get the 1,140, but not with a point at the end because we only want 3 sig figs. Good. Questions on that? All right, Big Mike, you get to choose another question.
Measurements for 100.
Measurements for 100. What are the 2 major systems of measurement in use around the world today?
U.S. standard and SI.
U.S. customary and SI, I'll give it to you. All right, that puts you at an even 3,000, and I can't manipulate that, so I'll go ahead and just erase and rewrite. All right, short stack, he's tripling you up here. What are we going to do about it?
Scientific notation for 100.
Scientific notation for 100. She's like, small ball wins every time. I got this. All right, scientific notation for 100. I want you to write this number, 10,374,000, using scientific notation. And a smile goes the way of all things. Death and destruction. All right. I'm going to write that number using scientific notation. All right, what you got?
1.0374 E7.
Good. 1.0374 E7 or times 10 to the 7th is correct. We're up to 1,100 points. Misdemeanor. Your question. This point, you almost have to go big or go home.
Yeah.
Other than that little 200 up there.
I'll take scientific notation for 500.
Now this is a daily double, though, since it's worth 500 and you only have 400, we'll probably just roll with the 500. You'd rather gain those points. All right, so we'll leave it as a 500. Did you get both daily doubles? So unfair. All right, short stack's like, I have gotten that. I could be right there with him now. All right, she was holding out for one of those. All right, I need you to multiply 6.2 E5 by 7.1 E negative 3. And write your answer using proper significant figures. Okay, we go to Big Mike. Would you like to steal her 500 points?
I'm gonna try.
Okay.
44.0.
No, would you like to go for the 500 points? Okay.
44 decimal point. Just a decimal point.
That is also not correct. All right, now we are correct, right? It's not 44.02 E2, because when you multiply, we have to go with 2 sig figs. So we're correct in this, but how many digits are we allowed before a decimal? Only 1. So we've got to move the decimal here over to the left, she up and left, and we're going to end up leaving it as a 4.4 E3. Does that make sense? All right. The unfairness of life, Audrey, misdemeanor. Sometimes everybody misses the question, only one person loses the points. All right, we go, let's see, but he tried it, you tried it. It's back to you, misdemeanor. You get another shot, here we go.
Atoms for 600.
Atoms for 600, we're taking it off the board. Because an electron is, that's atomic theory. Atoms, I was going to say, that can't be right. Atoms for 600. What are the two types of ions, and how are they created?
You have your anion and your cation.
Good. How does something become an anion? Let's start with that one.
It becomes negative. And
How?
because you add more electrons,
Okay. What about the cation?
it becomes positive, and you take away more electrons, so it becomes
Good. Cation, anion. You add electrons to make it an anion, take away electrons to become a cation, and closing the gap on short stack here. But it's Big Mike's question next.
I have sig figs in math for 200.
He's going to take the last of the little ones off the board. All right, sig figs math for 200. Big Mike, I need you to multiply 24 times 83. And leave your answer in proper significant figures. Like that?
Yes.
All right, short stack. Would you like his 200 points, or do you want your own question?
Take my own question.
All right, Misdemeanor. Would you like his 200 points, or would you like your own question?
I'll take it.
You'll take it. All right.
2.0
E3.
Oh.
So close, but you're right. We do need scientific notation because we're only allowed 2 sig figs. 1 is not sufficient. We would need the second significant digit. All right, short stack. You wanted your own question, so it is your turn.
Scientific notation for 400.
Scientific notation for 400 points. I need you to subtract 7.32 E4 minus 9.8 E3. 7.32 E4 minus 9.8 E3. All right, you ready?
I think so.
Okay.
Negative 2.48 E1.
That is not correct. Let's see, that was worth 400. All right, Misdemeanor. Wait, you took Big Mike's question, so it actually comes back to Big Mike. Would you like her 400 points?
Yes.
All right, what did you have?
6.3 E4.
No, we come to Misdemeanor. Would you like the 400 points?
I'll try.
Okay.
Negative 2.5 even.
Also not correct. Okay, so when we subtract, we can't subtract an E3. We have to bump it up to an E4. So we're going to move the decimal to the left and get 0.98 E4. Then we subtract like normal. We get 6.34 E4. And because we're at hundredths place, we're going to leave it just like that, because it's just based on place value, not number of sig figs. So you were really close. You were just trying to go with, well, there was tenths. Well, not when you actually did the subtraction. Does that make sense?
So you don't have to go off the base numbers?
No, no, you go off of whatever you actually add or subtract. And what you're actually subtracting has hundredths place in both of them. Does that make sense? All right, so let's see. Short stack, it's your question again.
Atomic theory for 500.
Atomic theory for 500. What is the name for particles that have the same size and characteristics but opposite charges and spins? Particles that have the same size and characteristics but opposite charges and spins. All right, Misdemeanor, would you like her 500 points or would you like your own question?
I'll take it.
Okay.
Antiparticles.
Antiparticles or antimatter, either of those would work. And looks like we are now out of time. And everyone's had the same number of questions, even, is how that turned out. So Big Mike, the clear winner on this one. What I'm going to encourage you to do is here, after you leave, I'm going to go over the questions that were not gotten to. So watch the video starting at about 46 minutes. Okay, so watch tonight's video starting at 46 minutes. I'll go over those. Only homework tonight is to study. You are dismissed. Go around that way if you would, Kendall, and Big Mike, go around that way toward the chalkboard. All right, I want to go ahead and go over the questions that were not asked in the review game. Let's start with matter 2 for 600. The question is, what term refers to both liquids and gases because they have no definite shape? Misdemeanor's still in here, no points. Do you know what we call liquid and a gas since they have no definite shape? She's like, I'm thinking about senior snack card. Fluids! Fluids would be the correct answer. You're dismissed on. All right, atomic theory for 600. The question is, because an electron is not composed of quarks, it is referred to as a blank. And that is a lepton. A lepton. Measurements for 600 said what was going to be differentiate between systematic and random error. Systematic error is error that is caused by a faulty procedure or a faulty instrument. You're doing something wrong or you're using something that doesn't work properly or it doesn't work best. Random error is anything, could be causing it. You're not really doing anything wrong, just life happens, can't be eliminated. Reasons for both. So systematic error, again, could be you're trying to measure something and the instrument is stretched or broken or labeled incorrectly, or perhaps you're trying to measure the PE field using a 6-inch ruler, flipping it end over end. Well, that's not the best way to measure. It'd be to use a long tape measure. Would be the best way to measure random error as you're measuring the PE field. There's an earthquake that happens. The earth opens up and swallows you like Cora. And so you couldn't finish the measurement, or as you were falling, your tape measure came down with you and you thought it was longer than it was right before the earth reclosed on you. That got really dark really quick. I'm not sure why. Let's go with scientific notation for 600. You were supposed to divide 9.6 E3 by 2.4 E negative 2. Take a moment to do the problem, pause the video, and then resume. All right, so for starters, we just divide. 9.6 by 2.4 comes out evenly to 4, but then we also subtract the E values. Well, subtraction is adding the inverse. So we're actually going to end up with an E5. So 4, or 4 point, E5 would have been our answer for the scientific notation 600. Sig Fig's math for 500. I give you the equation, or would have given you the equation, d equals v sub I t plus 1/2 at squared, and I would have asked you to solve for a. Go ahead and pause the video for a moment, solve for the a, and then resume the video. A couple ways to work the problem. Probably the easiest way is to take the entire v sub I t, move it over as a negative v sub I t. At that point then, I might multiply both sides by 2. And I could either leave it 2 outside, or I could distribute the 2 and get 2d, negative 2v sub I t. Or again, I could leave it that way. That'll cancel that away. And then to finish solving for the a, simply divide away the t squared. So either of these answers would have worked for the a. Either one of these would have worked for the a. All right, then the last question is Sig Fig's math for 600. I would have asked you to convert 36 feet per second into kilometers per hour. I can take a moment, pause the video, and then once you're finished, resume the video and see how you did. All right, so first of all, in dimensional analysis, we want to write this as 36 feet over 1 second. And then, I don't want feet. Kilometers, though, well, I know it takes 3.281 feet to make a meter. I also know that based on the prefix kilo being E3 or 1,000, it takes 1,000 meters to make a kilometer. I also know that, there are 3,600 seconds in an hour, so I'm going to put the 3,600 seconds on the top. I'll put the 1 hour in the bottom, that cancels away the seconds. And then I'll dig out my calculator, or Miss Morse's calculator, whoever's calculator this is, as she stands outside the door. And we'll multiply the 36 times the 3,600. I'm going to divide out the 3.281, also divide out the 1,000, and I end up with approximately 39.500. Rounding to sig figs, I'm only allowed 2, so we'll round that and say approximately 40 kilometers per hour. All right, make sure you study over your SI fundamental units also, and your metric prefixes. Know those things for the test. Obviously, this review wasn't all-encompassing, so study your notes from chapters 1 and 2, but this gives you the majority of what you would see on your test tomorrow. All right, study hard. Have a great day.